Hey, Crawl Spacers, welcome to our spider history, and you can't do it without this man right here, JR. What's going on, JR? Dr. JR, therapist and relationship consultant, huh?
That is right. I consider myself to be an expert on these matters, and I intend to help our audience with any questions they might have resulting from the topic of this particular episode. So the doctor is in.
When did this come out? 76, I think?
1976.
1976. So Marvel teamed up with Planned Parenthood and did a pamphlet teaching about sex education. This is not a made-up story. This is a legit story that was handed out. I probably wasn't sold. It was handed out to kids, probably in school, I would guess. I don't know.
I never saw it really until one time when you found it when you were looking for porn, and you found and you found this and you said, "Hey, JR, we have to do a show on this." And I said, "What, you mean the porn?" He said, No. I honestly don't know where you would have gotten it, because I'm trying to think of. I don't recall any Planned Parenthood offices in Petersburg, Indiana.
Right.
But kind of taken back. It was 1976.
It was,
and you kind of have.
So yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was about to say, you just kind of have to put. And I remember this time very specifically. This was a pretty rocky period of time in a lot of ways. Roe v. Wade actually was just about 3 years old, and that never entered the political discourse again, did it? But obviously, women's liberation, sexual revolution, and there was a growing concern about teen pregnancy. Well, that never did let up, did it? But anyway, there was a growing concern. So what happened was Planned Parenthood commissioned this pamphlet. And the writer is Ann Robinson, who never wrote another comic book, but apparently she was in charge of the company's licensing. So, so anyway, so Brad found this and said, we have to do a show.
Before we get too far into it, if you're easily offended, here is the warning. We're going to talk about sex education in this one. We're going to talk about what is actually published in the book, what villain Spider-Man goes up against, which he's a doozy. But if you're easily offended, now's the time to turn it off, because we are going to talk about Spider-Man sex education. Okay. We're gonna get some comments up on the screen. They're already hysterical. This is going to be an episode to remember, says Winnipeg, and it sure is. Let's see. I'm about to turn to JR says, I mean, not JR. Hornacek says, I'm about to learn the birds and the bees from Uncle JR. Hello, historical spider page turners. So how did the web go about staying tangled this time? Is JR going to give us the talk? We are turning to JR for relationship advice. These issues taught JR a valuable lesson, says Milo.
Yep. Well, I was, unlike you, Milo, I believe I was alive at the time. So, and I was a teenager.
Let's see. Oh, Hornacek, has Brad ever given a warning at the start of any video before? No. Hence why this ought to be a good one. If you're easily offended, you should not be listening to Spider History with JR ever. Thanks.
Well, that he does have a point there, doesn't
true.
He?
What a way to spend a Friday evening. JR talks about sex education. Everyone brace for impact. I was going to say I brought protection, but I won't say it, says Lon. All right. JR, take us through The Amazing Spider-Man versus The Prodigy, please.
Well, first of all, boys and girls, your bodies are changing.
Okay.
And we at the Spider-Man Crawl Space know that. And we would like to sensitively help you through this difficult period in your lives. I mean, after all, we at the Crawl Space are experts in human biology and human reproduction.
I can't say that listen to that straight face.
After all, between Uncle Brad and myself, we have made 3 children. So we know quite a lot about biology and human reproduction. So Now, I wanted to do just a special safe sex episode, where we talk about, the issues facing you young people today. But Brad, he was a little bit jittery and thought that we should, kind of
Gainfully employed
with we should kind of bring Spider-Man into it and make it relevant to Spider-Man. So he found this story while he was looking at other illicit material. And
I was not. What are you doing?
And suggested we do a show about it. So anyway, the year is 1976. It's the bicentennial year. Gerald Ford was president. You remember Jerry Ford, boys and girls? 1976 was also the year that he lost to the peanut farmer Jimmy Carter in the presidential election. But needless to say, kind of as we discussed earlier, the sexual revolution was in full swing, and Planned Parenthood was concerned about the uptick in teen pregnancy and figured who else to help to talk about safe sex and contraception in order to curb the country's teen pregnancy problem. Who else than Spider-Man was around to could discuss this. So anyway, the story begins. Oh, actually, Brad, go to the next page, right? Because just so you, you don't have the 3 info packet.
Yeah, hold on. It's way back there. Hold on. The 3 info. Okay, yeah, the big 3 info packet I have right there.
Now, just if all of your questions, if you have questions after today's show, I'm not so sure these addresses and prices are good anymore, but there are materials that you can read, like Understanding Sex, A Young Person's Guide, Love and Sex in Plain Language, and just get a hold of Planned Parenthood. I'm sure they're still somewhere in New York. So
810 7th Avenue, New York City. There you go.
Anyway,
I wonder if Spider-Man is in this stuff.
Now that I seriously doubt. I seriously
you can get all 3 for $1.
But it just I mean, but like whenever you see the Spidey logo, whenever you see Spidey or the Spidey logo, it's good and good for you. So, all right. Now
Winnipeg Webhead says Brad says he was 1. I was -26 when this.
Well, see, then this is going to be very valuable to you. I mean, it's.
My gosh.
I was 13 years old in 1976, and interesting times. I usually have to tell my kids, it's like, did they really say things like that? Did they really believe that? And I have to go.
I was
yeah. But anyway, jokes aside, Marvel in the 70s, and both, in 2 months when we talk about Spidey super stories, we'll also kind of bring this up. They took this stuff seriously. I mean, they didn't put just anybody. They didn't bring somebody in off the street to draw this. Now, the person who wrote it was not a professional comic writer, but the artist was none other.
Ross Andrew himself. Look at that.
Andrew. So,
this is the main Spider-Man penciler.
He was the guy. He was the penciler of Amazing Spider-Man at the time. Yep. So they brought the A-team to this one.
They did.
As far as art. So anyway, so Spider-Man is climbing up the Pan Am building in New York City. Except this was 1976, and the building was named for what that time was one of the premier airlines during the golden age of flying, as they called it, Pan American Airways. But as a result of deregulation, the Lockerbie, Scotland bombing, the high price of fuel, Pan Am declared bankruptcy and ceased operations in 1991, and the building is now the MetLife building. So there's a little history, architecture, but it's again, if you've ever been in New York City, you can't miss it. It's like so many buildings in New York. Anyway, so Spidey's enjoying the rarefied air of the New York City skyline, saying, "Dr. J, eat your heart out." Well, boys and girls, another history lesson here for those of you who are unfamiliar with the history of professional basketball. Dr. J was actually, it wasn't a drug, it wasn't a peddler of methamphetamines or anything, but it was actually short for Julius Erving, who was at that time was a star for the Philadelphia 76ers. And even after all these years, even after the years of Jordan and and Shaq and LeBron James, Dr. J is still considered one of the, I believe, one of the 10 greatest players ever to play the game of basketball. So that's the Dr. J reference. And again, Spider history is American history. All right. Yes. So while enjoying the sights of the city, Spidey sees his very fancy helicopter. Whoa, what is that? Where is that going? Well, he says he sees it land on the top of another building and a long line of very young people getting on board. So Spidey's thinking, I'll bet this group is headed to Epstein Island to meet Prince Andrew and a bunch of other celebrities. But then Spidey realizes, oh, no, this is 1976. That hasn't happened yet. So he's just going to wonder now why the teens are piling into this fancy helicopter at this time of night when they should be listening to their Henry Gross albums. Now, that
I don't even know. Henry Gross.
That is a really, really deep 70s cut. I had to look him. I had to look him up myself.
All right.
He has been a songwriter, an artist for over 50 years. He started out with the band Sha Na Na, which I'm sure, boys and girls, you've all heard of that. And then he went out on his own. He had one hit. He's considered a one-hit wonder. He had one hit in the 70s. It was called Shannon, and it was about a dog. Whatever gets you there. That is who Henry Gross.
That is Spider-Man book.
That is a really deep cut. Somebody was somebody knew their music at that time. So anyway. So then we go to a swanky mansion, quote unquote, in the mountains, which for the moment I'm going to assume they're in the Adirondacks. All right. Where and we see what are clearly evil henchmen talking about how the boss has recruited and robotized kids all over the country in pursuit of his master plan. And he does this. How does he do this? He does this by mesmerizing them with his vibrator.
Vibration.
No, the vibration. The vibration in his voice. Okay. And
you've been warned. I warned you at the top. I'm talking to the viewers.
Okay. Well, again, this is educational. I'm sure that this is educational, and I'm sure that Dr. Ruth would approve. All right. So
she's still with us, by the way.
I don't know.
Either.
Anyway,
right, here we are. Let's go to the alien.
To our alien. Now, this dude's a bad dude. He is from the planet Intellectia, from the Andromeda Galaxy. The Andromeda Galaxy is 2 million light years away, boys and girls. Yeah. I'm not sure why he felt that he had to bypass 2 million light years, go through his own galaxy into another galaxy to find what he wants to find on Earth. But nonetheless, he is here. Not even in Star Trek could they travel to the Andromeda Galaxy. So anyway, this guy looks like a cross between the Mind Worm, which, if you remember, Ross, this is Ross Andrews, the artist. It looks like a cross between the Mind Worm, the Leader, the original Gargoyle from the Incredible Hulk. So, and then, because, he's pretending to be a human, he puts a mask on and basically makes himself look like 60s through 80s character actor James Olsen. So
that's a deep cut that I don't even know.
James Olsen, the Andromeda Strain. Didn't you ever watch the movie The Andromeda Strain? No. The classic movie with the, about the germ or whatever that comes out of space. And they got, anyway. Okay, so now, of course, go to the next panel, Brad, and we'll see. Now, I don't know why he thought he needed so he got his magnetic voice, his power, the vibrator in his voice.
Vibration.
The vibration. Sorry. Okay. The editor gave a very special note about, how he got this, because basically his ship had insufficient shielding, and the intense heat and radiation he was exposed to altered his vocal cords. Now, okay, this ship got 2 million light years from the Andromeda Galaxy. All right. Yeah. And it overheats when it gets to Earth's atmosphere and gives him, Okay. Well, I don't know. 2 million light years. He might have been on his last leg. I mean,
Are you looking for continuity in the sex ed Spider-Man book? Is that what you're doing?
I just thought, space. I mean, I thought they'd
It's
get
the
the old
final frontier. Come on.
But anyway, look. Go to the next panel, Brad. He doesn't really need his magnetic monotone voice, because who can resist a guy dressed like this? With that jacket and those and go up a little bit, because the bell-bottom pants.
Oh, look at those, boy!
And those platform shoes.
Woo,
I mean,
70s.
he would mesmerize these kids by his style alone.
Even the statue's like, dang, those are some high tops.
It is. The statue is really, man, I wish I had feet so I could wear them platform shoes. Oh. Okay. All
Next
right.
page,
Well,
Ray.
anyway,
Here he goes.
Hey, this, I have
God.
to read some of this because.
Please do.
Yeah. But anyway, because he realizes, and he's here because he knows that teenagers are so stupid that they won't be able to see through his lies. So he's going to fill their brains with such information as: you can't get pregnant before you're 15. You can't get pregnant the first time you have sex, and you can't get pregnant if you only do it once in a while.
Oh,
helpful advice, but
he traveled millions of miles to get this information.
Don't listen to him. He's the bad guy. He's wrong.
Millions of miles have been traveled for this type of misinformation.
But see, his master plan. See, he talks about his master plan is he's going to get all these kids convinced that sex is okay at a young age, and they'll have babies right and left. And then
from ignorance.
And then they'll be ready for his planned giant baby snatch, because there's a deep need for child labor on the planet Intellectia in the Andromeda Galaxy. So they need child labor so that he and others like him can put their superior brain power, instead of doing menial tasks, they can conquer other planets.
And you would think that planet Intellectia wouldn't be so damn dumb. I mean,
well, no. But the thing is, because you got to realize, probably if he's going to use child labor, he's probably going to have a lot of trouble competing with China and McDonald's. So, he's, I don't know how much he's going to succeed when he's got those two competitors also looking for child labor. But anyway, they'll have babies right and left, and this sense of dread is just filling me.
He'll grab them and then he'll take them back for manual labor. There you go. That's the plan.
That's
saucers, the bad guy's plan, Spidey.
Soon the saucers will scoop thousands of babies off to Intellectia.
I can't even, man.
All right.
Even the writers like, we hate to tear you away from all this crap, but
this dramatic pontificating. But we got to remember the reason that we're actually printing this magazine is because we licensed Spider-Man out, so we better show him. So anyway,
get the webhead in here.
Well, our hero doesn't need his Spidey tingle to know that something foul and evil is up. So he's going to even give up watching the Waltons tonight. Now this must be a Thursday night, because the Waltons,
the Waltons,
I believe, were on Thursday night. Now the Waltons were one of the most popular television shows on CBS from 1972 to 1981.
I watched a few episodes. Yeah.
For all of those who remember the catchphrases "Good night, John Boy," "Good night, Mary Ellen," that's from the Waltons.
It was.
So
yes, it was.
If you were a child of the 70s, you knew who the Waltons were. And so Spider-Man, just like everybody else, was lining up to watch the Waltons. But he has something more important to do. So he flies with the copter to the swanky mansion and drops down to listen. And I don't think at any time he calls him the Prodigy, but that's what the title of the story names him. Yeah. So that's what we'll call him. He listens for the Prodigy. He listens to the Prodigy's talk. And the Prodigy is saying some things like, how can you prove that you're a man if you don't get a girl pregnant? I mean, that's what a man does. If you're a man, you will get a girl pregnant. Okay.
Gosh.
Plus, everybody's doing it. Everybody.
Wow.
And and your parents and other people who tell you about all the responsibility that comes with having a child. That's just to keep you from having a good time. That's just to keep you out of your boyfriend's rumble seat. All right.
Oh my gosh.
That's just to keep you from going to a cheap motel after the prom.
Hey, you're making stuff up now. Now you're off script.
Well, wait a minute. Kids of the 70s, 80s, 90s, 10s, 20s didn't do those things?
Well, Spidey says that's some jive stuff this turkey's handing out.
Oh, man, it's jive.
Stuff, turkey.
Jive stuff. All right.
Look at this.
Nothing.
He even says he can't handle a baby in his life right now.
No, he can't scrape enough money to buy his daily Twinkies, but oh man. Oh, Spidey. But this is serious. This is more serious than anything that Norman Osborn has dreamed up, that Doc Ock has dreamed up. Oh my Lord. Well, and then of course the young people decide to ask the Prodigy a few questions. Q&A time. Time. Excuse me, Mr. Fake Alien. Aren't there a whole lot of magazines that we can read and tell us about?
Excuse me, Mr. Alien in platform shoes. One question. What does God need with a starship?
There's all kinds of books and pamphlets. Shouldn't we read those? And go to the next one, Brad.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and knowing about stuff that you can get at all drugstores to keep from getting pregnant. What about that?
Or getting VD.
Yeah, or getting VD. Now let's talk about VD, boys and girls. No, wait a minute. We don't want to interrupt the flow of the story.
Why bother with a lot of hassle, man? Is what the alien says.
Yeah.
Wow.
And after all, here's some more lessons. Pregnancy is good for you. Pregnancy helps your hormones, and pregnancy even clears up acne. Am I making this up, Brad?
No, that's verbatim. I'll give you this. This is verbatim. This is verbatim on the book.
And the best time to have babies is when you're young enough to enjoy them. Now, I will say there's a wee bit of truth.
I would agree. Actually, I'm like, if I was 10 years younger,
sentence. Since Spencer wasn't born till I was like a couple years shy of 40 years old. Yeah. And so when he was playing Little League Baseball in his teens, the old man had to give up trying to pitch batting practice in his 50s.
I will say the alien is onto something. It is easier to keep up with the youngsters when you don't have a bad back and you're in your 40s and 50s.
Yeah. You find out that your fastball in more ways than one doesn't have that zing when you're in your 50s.
My webbed head.
Oh, boy, walloping web snappers. My webbed head.
Oh my God, I'm no Marcus Welby. That's an old one too.
All right, boys and girls, time for another pop culture reference. If you didn't know, boys and girls, Marcus Welby, MD, was a very popular TV show in the 1970s. Now, see, kids, what you missed by not being alive in the 1970s. I mean, in the 1970s, everything was good, right? Because you only had 3 networks, PBS, and that was it. And so, it all had to be quality stuff. Okay. And, you didn't have any of this cable or streaming or any of that other crap. You didn't even have remote controls on TVs. And,
you had kids so you can make them walk up and turn the channel for you.
That's right. We were our dad's remote controls. Get up and change the channel.
Yeah, no doubt.
Turn the channel to the IU basketball games on.
I want to watch the Waltons.
So Marcus Welby was a kindly doctor, portrayed by the great Robert Young. Now, the thing is,
from was it My Three Dads? My Three Sons, I mean?
No. My Three Sons was Fred McMurray.
Oh, my bad.
McMurray. Okay. This was Robert Young. Robert Young was Father Knows Best.
Father Knows Best. That's it. I haven't watched that.
Father Knows Best, and then he went to Marcus Welby. He was a very kindly doctor. The problem is, I was trying to think of the modern equivalent of a kindly doctor. I haven't been able to come up with
Grey's Anatomy, that gal. Yeah.
I don't watch. I don't watch that, but
It's only
I
been on
just
20 years, JR. You
Well,
haven't
yeah,
seen
I
one
know.
dang episode.
No, well,
Anyway, let's get off Marcus Welby.
It's not for me. So Marcus Welby, kid, boys and girls, Google it. All righty. All right. Now here's one of these things that Spidey's worried about. Go back to that previous panel. Go back to that previous panel.
Oh, the Marcus Welby one?
Yeah. The Marcus Welby one.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I'll say no. Let's go to the next one because I want him to. I'm sorry. I thought it was
This
okay.
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. They don't even realize how risky it is. Go to the next one.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. He wants them to be baby machines, changing diapers, going nowhere in dead-end jobs, sitting home every time trying to find the time and money to go to a movie or buzz out to the burger stand. You know, so basically Spidey is, and he makes the point that the kids who get, you know, young people who get pregnant, who have babies early, have to drop out of school and wind up in dead-end jobs. Yeah. 50 years later, Spidey, my friend, I'm going to have to tell you that there's a lot of people with bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, and even doctorates who are stuck in dead-end jobs.
Yep. Find you a trade or something. Yes.
Yeah. But, you know, but it's funny because the going back to all the Prodigy's talks, he talks about how, you know, wonderful, how about being pregnant does this and being pregnant does that or whatever. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. Everything he's talking about falls disproportionately upon girls. It's like they're the ones.
Oh,
like he's talking about how wonderful it is. I'm sure all these guys are sitting there. Yeah, I don't have to do much at all, do I?
You know, it's like
all
this 70s platform wearing shoe alien.
Even aliens from the planet Intellectia, from the Andromeda galaxy, are misogynistic.
They're sexist aliens that can do
he talks about how without kind of telling the girls that, oh, by the way, after the deed is done, it all falls on you, ladies.
Oh my gosh. What's Spidey gonna do? What's Spidey gonna do?
Well, I don't know, but see, here's the thing though. The Prodigy tells them though that they don't have to worry about this, okay? Because they'll be fine. They'll have everything they need.
Here we go.
Their babies will be brought up by experts. And because babies are experts. They'll be brought up by experts. And he tells them he is going to go on national TV. You know, this is even, boys and girls, this is even worse than Halloween 3. You know, you know, what was it? Hurry up, it's Halloween. Anyway, so he's gonna go on national television, tell young people about the glorious carefree life they're welcome to share in his utopian retreats all over the country. And if that doesn't say Epstein Island, I don't know what does.
My
but
God.
anyway,
Spidey, jump in there.
He can't. That's it. He can't. Galloping guacamole. He's even. Spidey is even bringing ethnic foods into the debate. This is
bigger than I thought.
Oh,
the dastardly dude's got a national scheme in the works to rip off young people. No, Spider-Man.
They're going to pop out thousands of babies, and flying saucers are going to descend upon the earth and scoop all these babies up.
He's got to do something fast.
Although the thing is, though, I think babies would even be more useless in child labor than the kids in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I mean, you know, it's like kind of like how much work do they expect to get out of like a bunch of pre-10-year-olds in a mine?
They got to wait at least 16 to 18 years so they can actually do some heavy lifting. Yeah.
Well, I figured though this was part of the master. You know, he'd gone to all over planet. I mean, he was from the Andromeda galaxy, so he probably stopped at a bunch of other planets, picked up a bunch of babies. They've grown up. They're doing the work now. Now he needs to go to another planet and scoop up thousands of babies, you know, and take their place eventually. So he's probably got this all planned out. He's too smart for for there to be any. Anyway,
so why are the guys running in? What's going on? What are they
these are the Prodigy's goons. You know, they see our wondrous webhead, and they know that he's going to be a threat to their imperious leader, spreading his message of love, joy, and sex to the young people of all America.
Look at this. Maybe I can hide from him by being a gargoyle.
But you know, we have confidence in our hero Spidey, and he makes short work of all these goons. He's on a mission. He is going to protect the young people of America. All right, now the alien, the Prodigy. is
Go back
about
to
go.
Prodigy. Oh, he's on the air.
He's going to go on the air.
He's on the air.
Hurry up! It's Halloween, Super Shamrock. By the way, boys and girls, when you think about it, the tune of that song is "London Bridge is Falling Down." Anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, they're getting ready to go on the air, and then
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
But then, oh man, here, hang on a second.
Yeah. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, he's winding up for the pitch for the next second half of this book.
Young people out there, I hope you realize, how much effort Uncle Brad and I are putting into educating you, and how emotional and draining this is.
We're making sure that they aren't suckered by aliens from Andromeda.
That's right.
Platform shoes.
That's right. So that when you see a smooth talking alien in bell bottom pants,
some jive turkeyness.
Shoes, you run to your mom or dad or a policeman or another adult and say, "Hey, am I supposed to be talking to this dude in bell bottom pants and platform shoes talking to me about sex?"
No, he's a bad guy.
All right. So Spider-Man burst in. And of course, the Prodigy thinks that he can handle Spider-Man. Well, he can't handle Spider-Man. So it's like, it's high time someone put an end to your, what's he saying here? Irresponsible influence. Keep the cameras rolling, boys. Well,
right.
And then Spidey dispatches him in no time and pulls his
slimy. Mask. I have a hunch you're not what you seem.
Okay, kids, let's see who this creep.
Ooh, look at that. It's like Mission Impossible.
Or actually, see, it's the alien from Intellectia, and it's like, and then he goes, I would have gotten away with kidnapping all those babies if it hadn't been for you meddling kids. All right.
Hey, just listen to me, Spidey, just for a minute.
Not on your life, saucer man. Your voice is a lethal weapon, and webbing will make a dandy gag. I'll end your plan to trap young people in ignorance, destroying their lives, threatening their existence. You can't make kids your robots. So then Spider-Man. Let's hear. Oh, here we go. Thanks to the miracle of modern communication, the cameras are still rolling, and kids can see you for what you really are. And so Spider-Man decides to shoot some web fluid right down his throat. Never again will you mesmerize kids with your destructive propaganda. And so, while the alien is laying there writhing on the floor, strangling on Spider-Man.
It'll dissolve in an hour. I'm going to die in 2 minutes.
So anyway, you get kids, you thought you were going to get an interesting message. But you get to watch an alien strangle to death on live TV. Aren't you glad you tuned in?
What did Johnny Cash say? Shot a man to watch him die. I just webbed an alien to
watch him die. Oh, so ends the pernicious power of the Prodigy. Oh. And he said, whoa, don't go the But just basically, I was going to give you a little plug here. So Spidey says, hey, I look good in front of the cameras. Maybe I'll get a part in the series. Well, in less than 12 months, boys and girls, the amazing Spider-Man TV series debuts on CBS. And who do we know who had an exclusive interview with Nicholas Hammond and Ellen Bry? Well, it's our very own Uncle Brad Douglas.
Thank you.
Not only is he an expert on human reproduction and human biology, but he also carries a mean microphone. All right.
Okay, now, here comes. Are you ready for the next one, JR? Are you ready? Lord have mercy.
So anyway, what the facts are.
Oh,
now when you get done with this thrilling adventure, okay. Now we need to sit and this is kind of like, when you were in fifth grade, when you were
what did you learn?
When you were in Mrs. Park's fifth grade classroom in Petersburg Elementary High School, and somebody came in and said, all the boys go to this room and all the girls go to this room, and you go to the room and it gets dark, and then like the projector comes on and you see, you see a diagram of a human body up there, And, this is what this part is. This is after the fun. So here,
These are the facts.
These are the facts.
This is just the facts as portrayed by Marvel and Planned Parenthood,
and endorsed by Spider-Man.
And endorsed by Spider-Man. There's a web there. So
the topics are pregnancy, about thoughts, about homosexuality, not touching nose, about venereal disease. What does it say about it? It won't go away by itself.
A doctor can cure it with a few
doctor
shots.
Can cure.
You can catch VD more than once.
Yeah,
and it's contagious and it can be caught even if you have sex only once.
Only once.
Hey,
so boys and girls
here on the crawl space.
So if you get VD, don't be afraid to ask your mom or dad to drive you to the clinic.
Because I saw it in a comic book.
Yeah, I can just see it now. Mom and Dad, I've made some mistakes, but Spider-Man has shown me the error of my ways. All right. But this tells you, like, I don't think we'll read these, but, this tells you when a girl can get pregnant. If you don't, there's a certain point in her life when this happens, when something happens, then after that, she can get pregnant. Okay. Now she can't get pregnant when this miracle is happening 5 days a month, but it can happen, but it still can even happen. So trying to figure out what days are safe. Yeah. You need to see a specialist about that. All right. It says so right here, and there's a simple test. Hell, you can go to the drugstore and pick up a kit, and it can tell whether you're pregnant or not. So, and remember, dreams, thoughts, and wishes about sex are natural.
Okay.
No, I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna do that.
No, don't do that one.
No, I ain't gonna go to the next one. I ain't gonna do the one about homosexuality.
I think we go to the next page before we get in trouble.
About
and
feelings.
Milo wants to know if VD stands for variant covers. No, it does not stand for variant covers disease. Okay, next page.
Masculine and feminine work roles are changing. Dropping out of school at an early age usually leads to a dead-end job. But as we've said, sometimes several years in college still leads to a dead-end job.
Don't major in basket weaving, all right? Yeah.
All right. So anyway, now that you have the facts.
Hey, where to get them?
Where
do you get them, JR? Where do you get them?
It says so right here. It's not easy to get straight answers without hassle. Things like changes during teen years, dating, what love is. I want to know what love is.
Love is.
Hey,
what's love got to do?
Well, I was about to say all you have to do, though, actually, about this one thing is just kind of read Genesis. I don't know what chapter in Genesis it is, but
the one with Spock.
No, not the planet Genesis, the book of Genesis, where Judah, because there's a very
Genesis.
There's a very Genesis is planet forbidden. Anyway, the book of Genesis has a chapter. One of Jacob's sons, Judah, who is eventually becomes a patriarch, one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Oh, wait a minute. No, he didn't do. Oh, well, I don't want to get into that. But anyway, so many organizations have programs or counselors. You could go to the Boys Clubs of America, the Girls Clubs of America. But well, I was going to say boys go to boys clubs and girls go to girls clubs.
It's now called the Boys and Girls Club nowadays.
But now you can go to either one because it doesn't matter because we're all the same, right?
Well, no, they merged it. It's now called the Boys and Girls Club of America.
Well, because there's no difference.
In 76, it was just called the Boys Club.
Yeah, but that's because there's no difference between us, right?
No.
I mean,
don't touch that one.
Oh, get. All right, I want to do MC Hammer now.
Do we have another page? I think the big three info
family planning clinics, public health clinics, and of course, Planned Parenthood of America. Oh, and to answer your questions, only 35 cents. Oh, print your name and address.
Hold on. Here. Is it this what you want to show? That?
No, that was the info packet at the beginning. There's do you have a page that answers your questions?
Let me see if I got it.
It's a mailing address for Planned Parenthood.
No, I don't have that page.
All right. Well, boys and girls, you'll have to take our word for it that Planned Parenthood can help you with the answer. So,
now we did it.
Yeah,
we didn't.
Now, boys and girls, I wish I had this in the 1970s when I was growing up in rural Indiana. You
You'd
know,
still be
and
single.
and I was growing up as a religious fundamentalist. I didn't have a whole lot of people I could go talk to about these things. I sure wish I had Spider-Man there to help guide me through my maturity, telling me that, that my feelings were okay, and, cluing me as to what catastrophe awaited me if I started getting to know girls in the biblical sense.
All right.
And I tried to give this to Spencer, my son Spencer. I brought this to him and I said, Spencer, I learned so much from this. I would like to give this to you. He looked at me and said, get that away from me. So the boy just didn't know what was good for him. But I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed that the lesson that your Uncle Brad and I gave you today. And are there any questions?
Okay, let's go to chat for the questions. Let's see here. Link says, I just arrived and I'm very confused.
Well, we can help you with that.
Winnipeg says, JR should always be the person explaining what happens to women every month, period.
Well, trust me, I'm an expert. I've seen it happen, and I also know enough to get the hell out of the way when it does.
Gary in the Frozen, where'd JR get his copy of this issue?
Well, Brad sent it to me. Brad sent me the link. Yeah, I mean, whenever I want erotic material, and I don't want to go looking for it myself, because I don't want my wife catching me, or I don't want the server or anything like that, or I don't want to get spammed. I just say, Brad, I need some erotic.
Hey, Brad,
material.
I need the Spider-Man sex ed book. All right,
and he, but actually, okay, true. He did give this to me.
About 2 kids too damn late.
Yeah, I was about to say, I said, Brad, I already got 2 kids. This is a little bit late.
I was only 1 in 76 when this came out. I tell you, I have a story about how I actually have a physical copy of this. I found it about 10 years ago at the Chicago Comic-Con, the Wizard Con. And I had just interviewed, after I got it, I interviewed Paul Jenkins. And after I interviewed it, I said, Paul, you will not believe what I just picked up for about $2. And so I took him over to where this guy had a stack of these things. And Paul Jenkins picked up one. And he thought it was the funniest damn thing he's ever seen. So if you ever watched that Crawl Space interview with Paul Jenkins, right after we did the interview, we went over and learned about Spider-Man sex education. A little behind the scenes.
But, we sit here, I mean, and obviously we're having a rip-roaring laugh and a good time.
Yeah.
But, in 1976, before the internet, and particularly in a lot of places in conservative America, you couldn't discuss these things. You couldn't discuss these things at all. You had to hope that your old man would finally sit you down and,
birds.
But it was
instead of the birds and the bees, it's the spiders and the aliens. Is that what we're learning about here?
Well, I don't want to, or they could sit you down and make you watch the first episode of season 2 of Star Trek, the original series, Amok Time, where Kirk and Spock have a talk about the Vulcan birds and the bees. Yes, and Ponfar. That's when you get a little older. Okay.
This episode is wild. Shame. Mary Jane and Paul didn't read this issue. Is JR going to cover the Skip Westcott issue?
JR is not going to. He is neither. No matter what Brad says, I am not touching that literally or metaphorically.
I wouldn't. That one's too.
I was appalled by that.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I don't get offended easy, boys and girls. I'm an old man, seen a lot of things, done a lot of things.
If you want to
that was offensive. That was honest to God offensive.
Well, it was I just interviewed the writer. Jim Salicrop wrote it. And if you want to hear a little of the backstory of that issue and how it came about, you can check that episode out.
I think I'll skip that one. I don't want to know. I don't want to why couldn't it have been somebody else except Peter? I mean, it's like, why didn't somebody else tell Peter that story? Anyway.
Jonathan says, can a symbiote protect against VD?
I bet they can. Because remember, boys and girls, when Norman Osborn had the Carnage symbiote, and he had his face all messed up by too much plastic surgery, and he also had all those nanites that Spider-Man injected into his body to numb his goblin powers, and Norman couldn't get rid of it any other way. But when he got the Carnage symbiote, fixed his face and destroyed all the nanites. So I pretty well guarantee you that a symbiote will cure your VD. Now, because they hadn't debuted in 1976, the Prodigy, because that could have been a lesson. He could have said, well, he's coming from Andromeda, right? He could have said, and if you do get venereal disease, we have symbiotes who will take care of that and cure you of that. So no worries there. Jonathan, thank you for your question. When you ask a question like that, you not only help you help your shyer colleagues who are afraid.
The more you know. Okay. Winnipeg says that Skip issue gets an F from JR. It personally offended him. But what do you give the Prodigy issue? What's the grade for that one?
Oh, this is fun as hell. I mean,
an F for fun as hell.
No, this was. This doesn't get a grade. I mean, it's overly sincere. And you know what's funny is I did try to do a little bit of research, and you'll find out that you'll see people who say, well, yeah, it was okay, but it didn't address this, and it didn't say this, and it didn't address this, and it's like, it's the 1970s. This is as bold as you were going to get, but it was like, he talks down to the kids and tries to shame them. No, he doesn't. He doesn't at all.
Winnipeg says, I think I learned more from this than the actual sex ed class. Just the facts with JR. Did we see this Spider-Man in the first Spider-Verse story?
You know what? I think this is the Spider-Man of the regular. I mean, if he was drawn by Ross Andru,
he looks like him.
It's the Spider-Man.
Adam says, this also must be where Peter got the idea for the Prodigy identity and identity crisis.
Yeah, I'm sure he was thinking about that. Boy, what a cool name.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
Now this is one of those things that
Spidey shoots webbing down Prodigy's throat. Isn't that how Joey Z died? Choking on webbing.
Well, yeah, I think he got it up his nose too. But and who killed Joey Z? We still don't know. We still don't know who killed Joey Z. Boy, Hornacek just bringing it, just kind of. Well, that was Hornacek, wasn't it? Oh, that was Hornacek. I tell you, just going back in the past and bringing something forward. That's what we pay him for.
If there's no more questions, I want to tell people about this real quick. We are so close to 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to our show, please do. We're, I think, like 40 away or something like that from 2,000. So if you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button. JR, any final thoughts on Spider-Man versus the Prodigy?
Well, boys and girls always get protection. If you have if you have a question, ask mom and dad.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, don't ask mom and dad. They're particularly not in rural conservative Indiana, because dad will say, "Ask your mom." Oh boy,
I would start with the parents. Ask the parents if you have questions.
Yeah, but they won't tell you. They won't give you the good story. You need.
Oh my God.
In fact, I'll tell you how a lot of kids in rural southern Indiana learned about these things: the back of the school bus, because that's where the bad kids hung out, and that's where they had their weed, and that's where they had their porn mags and stuff like that. So if you need to know these things, you just went in the back of the bus, when they were reading the mags or whatever. I mean, that's
Did you ride the school bus as a kid?
Oh, yeah.
I did too.
Those things are
school bus is where I learned two things in one day on a school bus. I learned that there isn't a Santa, and I learned what a Playboy is on the same day on a school bus.
I saw my first penthouse on a school bus.
I learned more on that ride to school than I ever did in school that day. My God.
Now, boys and girls, you don't get this from any other Spider-Man. You don't get this from any other Spider-Man podcast.
I mean, why would they? Horner 6 says, don't ask your parents, ask other kids on the schoolyard. Oh,
Unfortunately,
my
that's where most of them learn.
Brad's innocence was always lost after that day on the school bus. Always wrap your web shooter and stay away from stray cats is what Mr. There are going to be so many YouTube shorts from this episode. Yeah, JR is just making them up. So, okay, coming up next, we're going to
we're going to go to the next step,
which is
marriage.
Marriage. We're going to talk about weddings and honeymoons on the next episode of Spider
We're talking
History,
about having sex the right way.
Jesus.
With
you don't want to miss that episode.
With the person you love, as God intended.
We will be back in just a few.
Baby.